What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Animus, and today we are reviewing the Serenair mini air compressor kit that comes in the Ambition series airbrush and air compressor kit from Gaahleri. Let's get right to it. So I got this item from our friends over there at Gaahleri to review. Now you guys know that I am a sucker for air compressors, airbrushes, trying all that stuff out. I am honest in regards to reviews of whether or not the products are going to be good or if they're bad or if they're so just keep that in mind when watching this review. Even though this item was sent to us by Gaahleri for review, I am definitely going to be honest when it comes to whether or not it can perform, not comparing it to like a workhorse air compressor, but something more portable, something more, a little bit more convenient for those of you that don't have the space or simply just don't have the capacity to be able to house big compressors or big lines everywhere and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and open up the box and see what's inside. So once you open up the box, you're met with the instructions here for the air compressor kit. We don't need those, or we might. It does have a lot of buttons. We might need the instructions for this one, just in case. So when you open up the box, I know that the box is heavy in itself. So when I received it, I didn't know what it was at first, but I knew that it was coming. But I didn't know it was going to be this big. I figured that, with the mini air compressors out there that people get from like Amazon and all these other places, and trust me, I've been there. I tried using one of those and I just couldn't. I tried, and for more like precision work and stuff like that, then I just couldn't do it. It was just one of those things where, it wasn't as consistent as I would want it to, and then I couldn't adjust the PSI as I wanted to, and it was just all a mess. So great, went from that, discarded it, and went straight into big air compressors like the Gaahleri air compressor, and then I also have other ones here. Like I have the Iwata one, I have the No Name one from Spray Gunner as well. So I do have a lot of stuff, a lot of airbrush air compressors here that I've tried, and I was very looking forward to always maybe giving it a second go to a mini air compressor too, so I can make a review for you guys. For those of you that do not have the space or just don't have the capacity to have like big equipment, big bulky equipment, and you want something a little bit more silent, you maybe not to bother neighbors or stuff like that. So Gaahleri did come out with this product for beginners, where it comes with the airbrush, it comes with the CS36 with the tank, and it comes with two airbrush holders, and it comes with the AC adapter with the compressor itself. So let's go ahead and take them out and put them on the table. All right, so now that we've have everything outside the box, so again, like I was mentioning before, this is more of a beginner kit that Gaahleri is selling on their website. I think they have it now on sale. It's around $69 or something like that. So it looks really nice and consistent with their lineups for airbrushes, and all the airbrushes that are out there that mostly people are like, hey, yeah, I'm buying a beginner kit. They usually have airbrushes like these where they're just catered to beginners, so that way they can get used to the airbrushing at least, and all that. So you do have they include a hose with the compressor itself. Of course, the compressor, and I do want to mention this because it took me by surprise when I laid it on the table. The compressor itself does have suction on the bottom, so it can be sturdy on the table, so you don't have to worry about this thing just dancing everywhere on the table while you're painting, which is actually great because nobody wants to do that. And then you do have your AC adapter, and then the two holders for the airbrushes. Now the actual compressor itself does have outlets for the air. So it does have two actually. So it comes with two ports for those of you that are asking, it does come with two ports for you to be able to set up two lines for your airbrushing. I think that's pretty convenient, and I haven't seen a lot of portable air compressors that do that. So the air compressor itself goes all the way up to 227 PSI, and it does have a measuring, so you can go ahead and increase the pressure, decrease the pressure, or maximize it or minimize it. And that's actually really nice because whenever you are adjusting your PSI, yes, granted, here you have set pressures that you can do, but in your current airbrush, like if you wanted a feature like that, then you would have to get like a full-size air compressor. For the airbrush itself is the fairly standard. It's one from their classic line airbrushes there. You do have your tank. You do have that mirror finish inside the tank as well with the lid. I'm surprised that this lid didn't give me an issue to open it like some of them do whenever I do receive airbrushes from them. Like it's just super tight in there, so I have to crank it out. we will be trying this on the channel. We are going to see if this actually works. So just keep a lookout for that. And we're going to go ahead and go into, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and plug it in, see how loud it is, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I do have it plugged in. So we're going to go ahead and test it out and see how it works. Okay, all right. So it does turn on, it did turn on, and it did maximize the pressure. You can increase the pressure using the buttons for that. And I'm trying to see if it'll be any difference. That's actually pretty awesome. So you do feel the difference in between the pressure for the air as it's coming out, but I don't feel any pulsing. Best way to try it out is, of course, to use it to spray some parts. So I do have here the part that was used in a review for the markers for Gaahleri. So I am going to go ahead and spray some clear on this using this compressor and see how it works out. Now I am going to review this air spray booth eventually. I haven't been, I wanted to make sure that I put it through the ringer before I did a proper review or in-depth review on it. But this is definitely a workhorse of a spray booth for sure. So keep a lookout for that, because I will be reviewing and doing an in-depth review on this airbrush spray booth soon. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I did went ahead and connected the air compressor. The line is already connected, and I did leave the airbrush that comes with the actual kit itself, because I want to make sure that I don't alter it and use it out of box, because that's how some of you will be using the product itself. All right, so welcome back. So before we get into the results, I do want to talk about the quick start guide that this introductory, mini air compressor brings with its kit. It's not just a guide to how to use the compressor itself and how to take it apart and everything, but it'll also give you examples on what you're looking for when you are looking for paint. Whether it's when you're thinning to paint your paint, or where it's too thick or it's perfect in my case, or if you have, it'll show you how to clean it, how to deep clean your airbrush, and then it'll show you how to disassemble and reassemble your parts. So this is more addressed to like beginner airbrushers who somebody's starting their journey to airbrush, which it's actually pretty helpful. Now for the results of the actual airbrush itself, its performance and the compressor's performance. So I experienced zero pulsing from this mini compressor. It's baffling, because I know that the only downside to probably something like this is that because it doesn't have a tank, it's always on and it's always running when you're spraying. But and you can see this is how I used how I sprayed the airbrush, and it was seamlessly. I didn't have any pulse, any splatter with that classic airbrush, which is like a normal, airbrush. It's not even like a high-end tier from their line. And everything was good. You can see 15 psi and then 17 psi, and then it gradually going up to the ones where it was the thickest line, and it's not even, there's no pulse or anything. Don't look at the splatter here. That was just me probably having some dry tip there for the airbrush itself because of my paint. And this was causing, like, you can literally see my fingerprint, like it was, my finger was there. So and I placed the spoon there by mistake, which I did paint a spoon just to see if it will leave any specks on it. But the results don't lie. It's really good. It did really work. I do have a painted spoon here. I did show in the video that the spoon had a red speck on it because it was already there, and I don't want it to hinder the review because there was like, oh, there's a speck there. No, the spray itself was seamlessly and clean. It did not have any sputter or anything, no pulsing. It performed. All right, so final thoughts and wrapping up this review. So who is this addressed for? So this type of air compressor is basically addressed, like I mentioned before, people that don't have enough space, people that don't want to make a lot of noise, or someone that likes to travel. I really think that this is something that I will take from now on whenever I travel places. Whenever I'm trying to paint, because that way I can just have my own setup there. Of course, I'll be using different ones. I'll probably be taking the Mobius line with me to paint, or one of my harder and Steenbeck airbrushes. But it worked. It performed. It really did. I was most afraid of the pulsing because I know that that's a concern with people whenever they're using airbrushes like these, that they can't get that precision in there. But that could also be adjusted with a air valve to avoid that. So, but this actually really did perform. I love that it has a standby mode, or you can turn it on and off. It does have the variable PSIs there for you, so you can manage it. It does have an airbrush holder. It has 2 ports. I didn't use that. Now, I have to be honest, I did not test to see if it had pulsing using 2 airbrushes at the same time. But considering that most people will not be using 2 airbrushes at the same time, then I guess it doesn't matter. But if you are going to share the airbrush with someone and you're both going to paint at the same time, be warned, I don't know if it'll create pulsing or not. So that's just me being honest. So, and that is it for today's video. Like I was mentioning before, I was very surprised at how this mini air compressor performed. And I'm definitely going to consider maybe using it whenever I travel, so that way I could just keep painting on the go, if that makes sense. I do have a travel spray booth as well that I take with me, but that's a review for another time. So if you like my content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.